We can't stand on our emotions. Okay. We can't stand on other people's opinions. We can't stand on what the circumstances are presenting. We have to stand firm on the word of God. What does God say is true? Not what is presenting itself, right? We have to stand and know who we are, who we serve, who goes before us. We have to stand on the promises and the character of God, that he is faithful, right? That he never leaves things unfinished. Not what we see in the physical, but what we see in the spiritual. So the question, as I started to go through this, and by the way, it was a message for me, but it was also a message for the people I was working with at the time. The economy's been shifting, the industries have been shifting, and it has just been so relevant in the groups that I've been working with that I felt like I wanted to share it on the podcast today. The question I have to ask you, is your foundation solid or shaky? In Matthew 7:24, Jesus says, everyone who hears these words of mine and acts on them will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. But he goes on to say, those who hear and don't act will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand, and the winds came and the torrents came and the house was blown away. Right? Psalm 62 says, he alone is my rock and my salvation, my strong tower, my defense. I will not be shaken and I will not be disheartened. You see, what's happening is so many of us, we are all about the faith. We're all about running forward. But when things get hard and when we don't get the responses we want, when it feels like one failure after another, or we can't control every step of the game, we start freaking out and we start allowing our emotions to be the foundation on which we stand. And we know that if the emotions are the foundation on which we stand, we are just going to fall. We are going to fall. We're going to be tossed about like a ship at sea, because we're going to be like that double-minded person. So the question is, I want you to invite you to just close your eyes and ask yourself, what is my foundation? When we talk about foundation, we're talking about identity, who I know that I am. We're talking about beliefs and values and principles that we know that are true and eternal. They're not shaken by circumstances. They're not shaken by other people's opinions of us. They're truths, capital T, not my truth, little t, but they are eternal truths that stand the test of time. They stand the test of hurricanes. They stand the test of the winds changing, right? So when we talk about foundation, that's what we're going to talk about. We are talking about the words that we speak out of our mouth as truth. Okay. The second thing that came through is, number one, stand on a solid foundation. Check your foundation. Number two was stand in the promise. Stand with vision, with sight. Keep your eyes on the promise of the future, of what I've told you is going to happen, of where I've told you I'm sending you, of what I've shown you in the spirit, right? That the flesh or the physical hasn't caught up to yet. This is about looking ahead and looking through our circumstances, the ability to look through what is presenting itself. Guys, I get so many people reaching out and saying, I'm working on my marriage and I'm working on developing my team and I'm working on doing this, but the team's not responding. They're still doing this. My wife's not responding to me. She's still not listening. She's still disrespectful, right? And it's like, I'm praying for healing, but this keeps happening. And so you're allowing your vision to get disrupted by and so what you're doing, it's like you're looking at what's right in front of you and you're just reacting to that instead of being able to look through that to see what God is doing beyond that. And so that you respond to the future instead of this present moment that is usually presenting something that was created in the past, because what's presenting in front of you right now today was created in the past, right? The relationship you have today with your spouse, you didn't create that today. It's an accumulation of all the thoughts and words you guys have spoken to each other and all the things you've done for each other. So if you've been planting and sowing seeds where you've been respecting each other and honoring each other and investing in the relationship, if you look at your relationship today, it's probably fruitful, right? It's probably connected. There's probably a good level of trust and encouraging one another, desire to be with each other. If you have not been planting seeds of building each other up, instead you've been griping, paper cutting each other to death. You've been looking at your spouse with contempt. You've been holding on to bitterness. You've been withholding love. You've been unaffectionate. You've been physically present, mentally absent. What's presenting today is probably a cold statue, right? It's probably a lot of disconnection. When you're looking at your spouse, you probably don't see a lot of joy on their face or yours. So if you respond to what you see, you're going to create more of what you've been creating. But we have to look through it and say, God, what do you see in the future? What do you see for my marriage? What do you see that I get to start responding to? And that's how it works. This is literally how we change what presents itself. We stop reacting to what we physically see and we start responding to what we know in the spirit, what God says in the spirit, what he's shown us. So to stand is not passive. I didn't like it at first. When he said to me, stand, I was like, what? I don't want to stand. I want to run. I want to jump. I want to slay. I want to do. And I didn't understand. But as he revealed to me, he showed me standing is not passive. It's postured in faith. It is powerful presence. It's a posture of victory. When Moses stand there with his arms up, he was standing on a solid foundation, knowing, not doubting, but knowing that the battle belonged to the Lord, knowing that God already went before them, knowing that the thing that God promised them was going to come to them and they were going to see that promised land. He already knew the outcome, even though the battle looked like it was winning and losing and winning and losing. So standing is not passive. So I want to say this to those of you that think like, oh, I got to react to what I see. Stop reacting, start responding in faith and stand in the promise. That means pray over the promise into your current state. Pray today. I stand on the fact that my marriage is restored. My marriage is alive again. There is connection. I have fresh desire from my spouse. I stand and know that there is resurrection power in this house, in our bodies, if you are believers, and that God is doing something incredible in our marriage and in our life right now. And I'm going to stand in the promise, not in the doubt. Okay. So the question is, are you looking forward with spiritual sight, or you got this foggy goggles, earth goggles that are just reacting to everything in survival mode? God's people move by revelation, not reaction.